Laughing Brook. Poetry for sensual consciousness. Between a rock and a hard place, there the stream of life flows, all none the less. The way does not exist. You're creating it with every step. It's pointless to wait in doubt's shade. Trust you tread. Your foot knows the ground. And once you've found, go for this round and another. Now you can show others the way that does not exist. In his essay, The Coronation, written against the backdrop of the corona pandemic, cultural philosopher Charles Eisenstein proposes the idea that we as humanity, in our 21st century version, are obsessed with the idea of control. We want to control everything and ultimately also our lives. That's why death is such a big taboo. For after all, death is the ultimate loss of control. Eisenstein is not alone with his assessment. In my work with people, I encounter this wrestling with control all the time, in amazingly creative and versatile forms, and often not as a conscious act. And presumably this need to be in control of one's own life is as old as humanity, and in some respect an essential aspect of us as persons. Many spiritual traditions invite us to face this desire for control and to let go. Most prominent here are probably Eastern teachings, be they Vedic scriptures, Buddhism or Tantrism. They all invite us into emptiness, describing a reality behind our visible reality, which lies beyond comprehension of our rational minds, but from which, nevertheless, everything originates. In the Judean and Christian tradition, this invitation to let go is also found. The term used here is to believe. One could also use the word to trust. In the Tao Te Ching, the Chinese sage Laoji speaks about the art of acting by doing nothing, of emptiness as the path to fullness. Meditators and mystics of all times have had the experience of a void which is full and alive, where nothing is missing and everything is well. Getting there is actually quite easy. I just have to let go, and I'm there. But because we humans have this incredibly strong need for control, and because we also live in a society that constantly asks us to control ourselves and everything around us, it can seem impossible to embark on this path of letting go. There is a way, and it is enormously worthwhile and rewarding to walk it. Like every path, it begins with a first step. As we walk it, whether it is taking us on an easy downhill stroll or an exasperating, steep and scary uphill climb. Whether it is under beautiful blue skies or with icy rain biting in our faces, whether we walk it enthusiastically with others or doubtfully and painfully alone. It ever so slowly changes who we are. It takes a decision, the courage to commit to it, and trust that it will lead me to a destination. Intuition will become a resource. Mindfulness will teach us to notice those easy-to-miss cues that then teach us about the when and the where, about teachers, mentors, and allies. And very magically, just like in the beautiful story about the Wizard of Oz, it is precisely our walking on this path which has already all the things in it we are longing for. The way does not exist.
Where? What? How? Who says? What is?
You're creating it.
With every step.
Why?
You're creating it with every step.
Step.
It's pointless to wait in doubt's shade. Trust your tread.
I trust.
Your foot knows the ground. And once you've found, go for this round and another. Now you can show others the way that does not exist.
There are a few thank yous to say, as I couldn't have done this podcast in this way without help and inspiration from others. Viktor Pavel for speech coaching, supporting as a director with some of the poems that we recorded at Mixwerk Studio in Berlin, and for a number of very useful practical tips for recording. Michael Herrmann from Studio Frequenzgarten in Augsburg for help with mixing and tips on equipment and setting up a proper recording environment. Julia Knoblauch for shooting the podcast cover and some of the images you'll find on my website, laughingbrook.net. Dr. Simone Geis for stylistic feedback about writing the texts. Meredith Hewson for feedback and inspiration from the perspective of a poet. And speaking of inspiration, the remixes were and are inspired by artists such as David Bowie, Brian Eno, Robert Fripp, Laurie Anderson, and Prince, who have always fished at the edge of what you can do or are supposed to do, and who have turned the studio into an art form. And finally, I would like to thank all the people, alive or long past, who inspired me, challenged, and walked a short or long distance alongside me throughout my life. This list would be too long to mention everyone. There's one person, though, who I would like to extend a very special and particular thank you. And this is you. Thank you for listening, for your interest in this podcast. The texts I write and share here usually aren't the result of a lengthy construction, but they're born in the moment. They represent special moments. They come from my heart. They are from the heart. Sharing them is something special, and that means that you, as my listener, are a special someone to me. If you are touched by what I do here, by what touched me, then we experience, in whichever way, something like connectedness. And what a gift is this! So thank you very much. My name is Laughing Brook. I'm a poet, dancer, mystic, nature coach, and man whisperer. If you like what you've been hearing and would want to support me, please leave a positive rating and a comment on whichever platform you are listening to this podcast. This helps others to become aware of it. Share it with friends. And most of all, come back for the next episode. This podcast will continue without any fixed schedule, as life happens and verses come. So please subscribe to be in the loop and check back occasionally for any new poetry. For more info about me and things beyond this podcast, please check laughingbrook.net. Thank you for listening, and keep on flowing, bumping and jumping with the stream of life.